Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy my new stories every day. I never thought I'd find myself playing the role of the suspicious husband, scrutinizing likes and comments on social media as if they were pieces of a scandalous puzzle. But there I was, staring at my wife Agatha's Facebook and Instagram profiles, feeling a mix of disbelief and dread. It started subtly, a few extra likes here, a heart emoji there, all directed at the same person, Ethan. Initially, I brushed it off as simple friendliness. After all, Agatha was always more social than I was. However, their online exchanges grew increasingly personal, the kind of comments that strayed far from platonic. Missing our little escapades face blowing a kiss, one of Ethan's comments read, under a throwback photo of Agatha at a beach I didn't recognize. The gnawing feeling in my stomach turned into a tight knot. Deciding to seek an outside perspective, I called Agatha's sister, Meredith, under the guise of planning a surprise birthday party. "Meredith, has Agatha mentioned someone named Ethan to you?" I asked, trying to sound casual. There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Listen, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you're a good guy," Meredith's voice lowered, sounding strained. "Ethan isn't just a friend. They've been seeing each other." The confirmation hit like a sledgehammer. My next breath felt like inhaling shards of glass. "Thanks, Meredith," I managed to choke out before ending the call. For the next few days, I lived in a daze, watching Agatha for any signs of deceit. She was careful, almost too perfect. One evening, as she cooked dinner, humming a tune, the absurdity of it all overwhelmed me. "Why so cheerful today?" I asked, leaning against the kitchen counter, watching her closely. "Just happy," she replied, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Why? Shouldn't I be? Who's Ethan?" I dropped the name casually, observing her reaction. Her hands stilled, and she looked up, her expression flickering with something I couldn't quite catch before she masked it with confusion. "Ethan? Oh, just a guy from the gym. Why?" I nodded, pretending to accept her explanation. "Just curious," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. That night, as Agatha slept, I sat in the living room, the glow of my laptop illuminating the dark. I drafted the divorce papers. There was no dramatic confrontation, no tearful accusations. The love I had for her was buried under the weight of her betrayal. When she received the divorce papers, Agatha was shocked but didn't fight it. Her silence during the proceedings spoke volumes. Once everything was finalized, I made one last visit to our now former home to collect my remaining belongings. As I was leaving, Agatha stopped me at the door. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her eyes searching mine for something, forgiveness, perhaps, or pity. I simply nodded, stepping out into the fresh air, the weight of my old life shedding from my shoulders. I walked away, the chapter closed, never looking back. The intrigue of why and how she fell out of love with me, choosing someone else over our vows, would unfold later. But at that moment, all I knew was that I needed to rebuild from the ruins of what I once called my life. The days following the divorce were a blur of mundane tasks and legal formalities, yet underneath it all, a storm of anger brewed. I couldn't shake the image of Agatha and Ethan together, laughing behind my back. The betrayal stung deep, urging me towards retribution. It wasn't enough to walk away, I needed to ensure Agatha felt the depth of the betrayal she had inflicted. My plan began with a simple, yet invasive step. I reached out to a tech-savvy friend, Damon, who had a knack for uncovering digital dirt. "I need your help," I confessed over the phone, the words heavy with a mix of shame and resolve. Damon didn't hesitate. "What do you need?" "I want to know everything about Ethan. Who he is, what he does, any dirt you can dig up." "You sure about this?" Damon's voice was wary, a hint of concern bleeding through. "I've never been more certain," I replied, the edge in my voice sharper than I intended. A couple of days later, Damon sent me a file. It was comprehensive: Ethan's financial woes, a pending lawsuit for unpaid debts, and a series of social media messages that painted a picture of a man far from the charming persona he projected online. Armed with this information, I crafted my next move. I printed out every piece of damning evidence and mailed it anonymously to Ethan's workplace. The package was simple, untraceable, but the contents explosive. Alongside the documents, I included a note: everyone should know who they're really dealing with. The fallout was swift. Ethan's employer, a reputable financial firm, had little tolerance for such scandals. Within a week, news trickled back to me that Ethan had been suspended pending an investigation. Agatha's social media went quiet, her digital presence dimming as the scandal took its toll. But confronting Agatha personally still lay ahead. I orchestrated a chance encounter at a coffee shop she frequented, a place where we once shared quiet mornings together. As I walked in, Agatha was there, her face drawn, eyes tired. She noticed me and stiffened. I ordered my coffee and sat at the table next to hers. "James," she began, her voice a mix of surprise and caution. "How have you been?" "As well as can be expected," I answered coolly. "And you?" "Must be tough, seeing Ethan's career fall apart." Her eyes widened, shock and a trace of fear passing through them. "What do you know about Ethan?" "Enough to know he's not who you thought he was," I said, leaning back, my coffee untouched. "Seems he was quite the financial disaster. Not really someone you'd want to tie your dreams to, right?" Agatha's face fell, her hands trembling slightly as she wrapped them around her cup. "James, Save it, Agatha. You made your choice. I'm just here to see how it all unfolds." I stood, leaving the coffee on the table, a bitter reminder of what had once been sweet. As I walked out, I didn't look back, even as I felt her gaze on me, heavy with things unsaid. The confrontation wasn't just about causing her pain, it was a declaration of my freedom from the web of lies she wove. The road ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain: I was no longer bound by the shadows of deceit. As I moved forward, the pieces of my new life began to take shape, but the true extent of the intrigue and the consequences of my actions would only reveal themselves in time. The weeks following my confrontation with Agatha brought a deceptive calm, but beneath the surface, my plans brewed further. The initial retribution was satisfying, yet it barely scratched the surface of the betrayal that gnawed at my heart. It was time to escalate, to ensure that Agatha's transgressions were irrevocably exposed. I decided my next move would hit closer to home, her social circle. Agatha had always valued her reputation, priding herself on her role in various community projects and social events. I knew that damaging her standing among her peers would cut deeper than any personal confrontation. Armed with the dirt Damon had uncovered on Ethan, I crafted an anonymous email filled with undeniable proof of Agatha's affair and Ethan's dubious background. I addressed it not only to her closest friends but also to the boards of the charities she was involved with. The email was a detailed dossier, a mix of truth and half-truths, designed to sow doubt and disdain. "Dear concerned members and friends," the email began. "It has come to my attention that not everything is as transparent as it seems. For the good of our community and the integrity of our projects, I believe it is crucial to address the deceit among us." The email ended with a veiled call to action, urging everyone to reconsider Agatha's involvement. The response was immediate and chaotic. Phone calls buzzed back and forth, social media became a battleground of whispers and outright accusations. Agatha's name was tarnished, her image stained by the scandal I had orchestrated. But I didn't stop there. Seeing her social downfall unfold, I sought out one of her old friends, Clara, who I knew was disillusioned by Agatha's actions. We met at a quiet bar, the atmosphere dim and fitting for the conspiratorial tones of our conversation. "Clara, thank you for meeting me," I started, my voice low. Clara sipped her drink, her eyes wary. "I'm not sure I should be here, James. This feels messy." "It is messy," I conceded. "But didn't Agatha make it messy?" You've seen the emails. You know what's been going on. She nodded, her expression somber. I never would have believed it if I hadn't seen the proof. How long have you known? Long enough to see the truth behind the lies, I replied. I'm not here to spread more rumors, Clara. I just think it's time everyone knew the real Agatha. Clara paused, considering her next words. What are you planning to do? Just ensure that the truth doesn't stay buried. If you're willing, I'd appreciate it if you could help me make sure of that. Her decision came after a moment of silence. I'll help you, James. It's not just for you, it's for all of us who were fooled. Empowered by Clara's support, I felt a renewed vigor for my cause. The weeks that followed were a blur of exposed secrets and broken alliances. Agatha's social standing crumbled, her once charmed life unraveling thread by thread. As the dust began to settle, I realized that my quest for retribution had changed me. I was no longer just a betrayed husband, I had become an architect of downfall. Yet, the satisfaction was hollow, tempered by the understanding of how much I had changed. The true cost of my vengeance was becoming apparent, not just to Agatha, but to myself. As the intrigue of the main plot continued to unfold, the lines between justice and revenge blurred, setting the stage for the final act of our dismantled lives. The culmination of my meticulous orchestration of Agatha's downfall was a scene etched with cold precision and bitter finality. The once vibrant tapestry of her life, now a frayed canvas, served as a backdrop to the final confrontation, an encounter that would seal the fate of all involved. In the weeks following Clara's alliance with me, Agatha's social and professional life had not just frayed but utterly collapsed. The community she cherished turned its back on her, leaving her isolated and vulnerable. This was my moment to strike the last, devastating blow. I arranged to meet her one last time under the guise of finalizing some overlooked divorce details, at a quiet, upscale restaurant we once frequented during happier times. The irony of the location was not lost on either of us. As Agatha walked in, her appearance was starkly altered, the strain of public shaming and personal betrayal had taken its toll. Her eyes, once lively and engaging, now mirrored the turmoil within. James, she greeted, her voice a hollow echo of its former warmth. She took a seat across from me, her posture rigid. Agatha, I responded curtly, my tone leaving no room for the pleasantries we had long forsaken. I'm glad you could meet. There are some things we need to finalize. She nodded, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Yes, of course. Let's just get this over with. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on hers, delivering my words with calculated coldness. Before we conclude, there's something you should see. From my briefcase, I retrieved a series of photos, images capturing Agatha and Ethan in clandestine moments, their intimacy undeniable. Agatha's face drained of color as she rifled through the photos. Where did you get these? Her voice trembled, a mix of anger and fear. Does it matter? I replied sharply. What matters is everyone knows the truth about you now. Your friends, your family, the entire community. You've destroyed me, she whispered, a tear escaping down her cheek. That was the point, I said without a hint of sympathy. You destroyed us first. The waiter approached timidly, sensing the tension but obliged by duty to intervene. Is everything all right here? We're fine, I answered without looking up, dismissing him with a wave. As the waiter retreated, Agatha leaned in, her voice desperate. James, I made a mistake, but this, what you've done, is cruel. Cruel but necessary, I countered. You needed to feel the depth of betrayal I felt. She stared at me, the realization of the complete transformation of the man she once loved dawning on her. Who are you? She asked, the question filled with despair and fear. The man you betrayed, I stated flatly. The man who ensured your deceit didn't go unpunished. Standing abruptly, I signaled for the check, eager to end this final act. Agatha didn't move, she sat frozen, the impact of her actions and my revenge settling in like the chill of an irreversible winter. As I walked away, the last thing I heard was the soft sobbing of a woman I no longer recognized. The restaurant's door closed behind me with a definitive thud, echoing the closure of a chapter marred by betrayal and vengeance. Walking away from the restaurant, the cold air hit my face, and a realization crept in. In my quest for vengeance, I had lost a part of myself too. The satisfaction I imagined was overshadowed by a lingering emptiness. Agatha and I were both victims of our own undoing, and the deceit we both harbored had led to nothing but mutual destruction. The tragic finale of our tale was a testament to the destructive power of betrayal and revenge, a cycle that once begun, spins out of control, leaving ruin in its wake.